FC Barcelona have some skeletons in their cupboard. Grab your popcorn and check if all your doors are locked because we're about to uncover Barca's dark secrets. Here are 10 things Barcelona never wanted you to know. Number 1, like the rest of this list, is embarrassing. Barcelona have been doing some downright bizarre things to stay financially afloat in the last couple of years. The club has been in a financial mess for a while now, and these guys are really just holding on for dear life right now. From reactivating several levers to selling naming rights of their stadium to even selling the grass of the Camp Nou pitch. Nah, Barcelona are broke. These guys have literally sold 25% of their La Liga TV rights for the next 25 years. You think that's crazy? Listen to this. They've also sold a 49% stake of the production arm of the Barca Studios to a Mexican company. Nah, someone needs to come and save Barcelona real quick before they begin to sell their fans to raise money. But while you might want to feel some pity for Barcelona, one set of fans who will never have that sympathy is Chelsea fans. As far as they're concerned, all this is payback for 2009. You guys remember what happened, right? In 2009, Barcelona made history by becoming the first club in Europe to win 6 trophies in a year. But was the road to history smooth? Definitely not. The 2009 Champions League semi-final between Chelsea and Barcelona was truly one for the books. The referee Tom Ovrobo could have handed Chelsea not 1, not 2, but 3 penalties in the second leg, but he chose to turn a deaf ear each time. Chelsea players were so mad that night, especially Michael Ballack and Didier Drogba. See, Barcelona surely didn't deserve a place in the 2009 Champions League final, and therefore they didn't deserve that piece of history. But Barca wants us to act like that never happened. Now, I'm not saying that they paid the ref, but I probably don't even have to because the Negreira case might just be doing that for me. Barcelona are currently under investigation for bribery as part of the Negreira case. In case you haven't heard of that name, Jose Maria Enriquez Negreira is the former vice president of the refereeing committee in Spain, who Barcelona is suspected to have paid for match fixing. Crazy, isn't it? A court document seen by multiple sources reveals that the Catalans are suspected of sustained crime of active bribery. These guys could be banned from the Champions League if they're found guilty. Well, that's if they don't drop to the Europa League before that. And this is not the only time Barcelona has been involved in some shady business. They were right at the heart of it in 2013 with Neymar's signing. That signing still remains one of the most controversial transfers in football history. On the surface, it was a straightforward transfer. Barcelona bought Neymar for 57.1 million and it was all good, right? Wrong. Months after the transfer was complete, investigations began and the results weren't pretty. Something really shady went down. The digging continued and it started to get even messier. So Barcelona's president at the time, Sandro Rosell, was forced to resign. The day after Rosell's resignation, it was then exposed that Barcelona actually bought Neymar for 86.2 million euros, not 57.1 as Rosell reported. Neymar's parents even confessed to having received a secret payment of 40 million euros. God damn. Anyway, Barcelona eventually got charged with tax fraud for that, but they don't want you to know that they got their Brazilian wonderkid through dubious means. But at least Neymar did well at Barcelona. What about the players the club spent even more money on, but ended up being absolute flops? So after Rosell resigned as president of Barcelona, Jose Bartomeu took over, and Barcelona thought they were getting a fresh start after years under corrupt leader. Little did they know that they were going out of the frying pan into the fire. So Barcelona received 222 million euros from Neymar's sale to PSG in 2017, and Bartomeu thought it was party time. Instead of investing that money wisely, he splurged on players who ended up being flops. Right now, Barcelona are responsible for 3 of the 5 most expensive transfers in the history of Spanish football. And I'm sure you can guess who the 3 musketeers are: Filipe Coutinho, Antoine Griezmann, and Ousmane Dembele. All 3 players flopped horrendously at Barcelona, and none of them are at the club right now. How the hell do you spend 370 million euros on 3 players and they all flop? You can tell that the Barcelona president at the time never paid any attention in economics class in high school. But Sadly, doing horrible business is not a new thing for Barcelona. They've been doing this since the early 2000s. Remember that infamous Figo transfer that happened in the summer of 2000? What if I told you that Barcelona had the chance to stop it but chose not to? If you're too young to remember the transfer, here's all you need to know. Luis Figo, who was Barcelona's best player at the time and one of the leaders in the squad, left the club to move to their fiercest rivals, Real Madrid. Barca fans hated the Portuguese after that move. They made him into a villain and even threw a pig's head at him when he returned to the Camp Nou. But here's what Barcelona doesn't want you to know. They could have stopped that move from happening, but they chose not to. Here's the story. In the summer of 2000, Real Madrid had an election and Florentino Perez promised to bring Figo to the Bernabeu if he won. See, Perez was not the favorite to win that election at all. Figo and his camp thought he'd lose, so the Portuguese won't really have to make the move to Madrid. So they signed the pre-contractual agreement because what the hell? Well, Perez shocked the world and won. So Figo, not wanting to leave Barcelona, went to the president, Juan Gaspart, and told him about the offer from Perez. He asked that Barcelona show him they valued him by renewing his contract. If Gaspart did that, Figo was ready to go tell Perez to go to hell. And Figo really wanted to stay, you know. His agent traveled to Barcelona 3 times to try and get the renewal done, but the club couldn't commit, so Figo left. I mean, yeah, the player might have had some fault there, but if Barcelona just treated their best player better, maybe he would never have had to look elsewhere. Now, they make Figo the villain because they don't want you to know that they had a huge hand in the man leaving. And you know what else they also don't want you to know because they're so embarrassed by it? They once went 3 whole years without picking up points from a single Clásico game against Real Madrid. Between 1962 and 1965, Barcelona were so bad that they picked up a total of 0 points from El Clásico games. For real, they didn't win or even draw. Real Madrid beat them back-to-back for 3 years straight. Wow. That first win after the constant losses must have felt like your first drink of cold water after years in the desert. But if you think going 3 years without winning a Clásico game is embarrassing, how about when Barcelona went 14 whole years without winning even 1 league title? From the early 1960s to the mid-70s, the club didn't taste success in La Liga. They tried and tried, but they were not able to win the league once in that 14-year period. What made it worse was that Real Madrid were in full swing, dominating both La Liga and European competitions. I'm sure you can see why Barcelona wants to forever keep this a massive secret. And I'll tell you what's worse, this great club that claims to be the biggest in the country holds the most embarrassing record in the entire history of La Liga. If you're asked to guess the biggest loss in La Liga's history, I'm sure you won't even imagine Barcelona being on the receiving end, but they are. The Blaugranas hold the undesirable record of being the team who has suffered the biggest loss in the history of the Spanish top flight. You don't know because they don't want you to know, and they've done their best to hide it. But as always, I'm here to expose everything. In 1931, Barcelona got spanked by Athletic Club. Can you guess what the scoreline was? Of course, it had to be huge for it to be a record. 12-1 was the score. 12 goals to 1. Now that's what you call a real spanking. Bro, Barcelona let in 10 goals in the second half alone. Like, bro, were they even trying? Honestly, the Barca fans who remained in the stadium until the final whistle that day are the strongest soldiers. Me, I would have been out after the 4th goal. And speaking of the 4th goal, just takes my mind back to one game I'm so sure Barcelona don't ever want you to remember. The Champions League final of 1994 between Barcelona and AC Milan. Back then, Barcelona were being managed by the legendary Johan Cruyff, the man who inspired the Barcelona philosophy. The Dutchman created an almost perfect team in Barcelona, the Dream Team. This squad had Ronald Koeman, Pep Guardiola, Michael Laudrup, Hristo Stoichkov, Mario, and many more superstars. So, before the match, Cruyff, extremely confident in the team he had built, boldly declared, "Barcelona are favorites. We're more complete, competitive, and experienced than in the past. Milan is nothing out of this world. They base their game on defense. We base ours on attack." And he actually had a point. 1994 was the year AC Milan won the Scudetto with just 36 goals scored in 34 games. Cruyff saw that and boasted before the game. Worst decision of his life. Milan ended smacking Barcelona mercilessly, 4-0 by scoring 4 and keeping a clean sheet. Milan showed Cruyff that they could both be a defensive unit and an attacking side. why. Since then, no team has ever lost a Champions League final by that many goals. So you know what that means? Barcelona still remains the last club to lose a Champions League final by 4+ goals. Another record the Blaugranas surely don't want.